Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be going over my approach to making gold early in TBC, how I'm going to get my early flying mount, and how I'm going to end up affording a lot of the expensive crafted gear and profession stuff, in TBC. Right, and the answer is very simple. It's nothing crazy. I plan on using gathering professions at the start of the expansion, and you might be thinking, well, I mean, that's kind of obvious. Like you're just telling us to pick some herbs, hit some mines, skin some things. How is this a video, right? And the answer is, I think that in TBC, more than potentially any other expansion, especially in TBC Classic, I think this might be the single best time to open the expansion with gathering professions. And there's a few reasons for this. Number one, there are a ton of insanely good crafting professions in TBC that people are going to be trying to level up. And more than ever, you're going to be seeing people with double crafting professions on their main character. And in preparation for TBC, I mean, a lot of people already have them leveled up to 300. So there's going to be a ton of people out in the world that do not have gathering professions that are not going to be hitting the gathering nodes. And that lets, you take them all for yourself. However, there's going to be insanely high demand for the materials that you are, gathering, right? So that's the number one thing, is there's going to be a lot of people that have double crafting, meaning they can't gather and they rely on you to gather so they can do their profession stuff. The second thing is, I mean, even if some people might have gathering professions, a lot of people are planning to speed to 70, right? And of course, there's going to be tons of people that are taking the slow road, and that's perfectly fine. However, people are already planning out dungeon leveling. If you're in a dungeon, you're not going to be getting as many herbs. I mean, there are some herbs and stuff in some of the instances, and there are some mines in some of the instances, but that leaves you in the open world, less competition for the open world resources if you're herbing while leveling. Or even, I mean, now that I say that, if you are going to be leveling through dungeons, again, potentially you'd be able to pick up a lot of the stuff in the dungeons as you're going too. So the takeaway there is, the people that are speeding to 70, not only are they not gathering, but when they hit 70, they're going to be purchasing the gathering materials. Even further than that, I think the most important thing is this is a way for you to actually like reasonably catch up, not to the richest of the rich, but with relatively low time investment. You can make very large amounts of money, especially early in the expansion, because the super rich people coming from Classic with the big bucks, right? The people that have 20K gold, 30K, 40K gold. I mean, essentially the entire reason they have that gold is so that when TBC comes out, they can fully max all their professions, right, on all their characters. So all of those really rich people, you get to take their money, right? They're going to be the ones that are buying everything early on, and the prices are going to be crazy with so many impactful gathering or crafting professions. I mean, you've got jewel crafting, engineering, blacksmithing, enchanting. I mean, alchemy. Did I say leatherworking? I mean, everything is going to be giving huge bonuses to characters, and people are going to be in a rush to get their blacksmithing weapons early. They're going to be in a rush to get their early tailoring recipes made, and they're going to be rushing to get their leatherworking sets done. And if you are early on gathering, you're going to make mad money, and it's super simple. There's really no complexity to it. You just pick herbs, right? You hit mines, you skin things, and as with any expansion, the prices are going to be high at the start, but more than any other, I think TBC could be crazy, right? But there's, like if you're trying to wrestle with, the problem is, I also want to have a crafted profession. Keep in mind that on my character that I'm going to be playing that has herbing and it has mining, I plan to go like engineering jewel crafting or engineering blacksmithing. So I plan on having two very expensive crafted professions on my main character. It's just on my new server, I have 300 gold, and 300 gold is not enough to get a flying mount. 300 gold is not enough to max these professions. So there's no point in me getting these professions, and there's no point in me slowly farming gold in Classic when when TBC comes out, I can immediately make a lot of money just by herbing, just by mining. And I don't have to worry. I'm not worried about the fact that I can't get my gathering or my crafted professions done super early because I couldn't afford it anyway, right? I don't feel like I'm missing out at the start of the expansion by, going gathering professions because I know that I wouldn't be, rich enough to afford a week one, Drake Fist hammer. I wouldn't be rich enough week one to craft engineering goggles if they even came out, right? I wouldn't even be rich enough to get my profession to like 350 probably. Keep in mind that a lot of these valuable crafting items that you are going to be aiming for in your crafted profession generally start at profession level 365. So you're going to have to level from not only 1 to 300, but 300 to 365 before you start getting a lot of the better items for your profession. And for some, you might have to max it all the way out. And obviously the materials are going to be very, very expensive. And so if you don't see yourself being able to afford the early profession items anyway, you might as well just go ahead and, go crafting professions. So, in saying this, what are the downsides? What are the catches, right? Obviously, if you go crafting profession, or you might have to give up your crafting profession to gather. Now, depending on what that is, that might not be too much of a cost. If you're planning on changing your profession anyway, going into TBC, that's perfectly fine. But I could definitely understand not wanting to have to re-level, like enchanting 1 to 300 again, and not wanting to level blacksmithing 1 to 300 again. So that is going to be one of the things that is going to be the catch. But again, if you have professions like enchanting and blacksmithing, and you're in a situation where you don't have a lot of money right now going into TBC, you're already in a tough situation, and you're going to have to find a way to try and make some early gold in TBC if you want to progress those professions. Now, another thing I want to say, because there's a lot of people planning to go jewel crafting to make money, or they're planning to try and make money with a crafting profession. And the only concern there is there are a ton of people going the crafted professions, and there's going to be a lot of competition. So I would say for the layman, for the average player, I think it's a lot easier to go something like herbing, mining, skinning, and make a lot of gold than it would be to try and make gold with something like jewel crafting, just because you're going to have to, get the recipes early. You're going to have to, spam trade chat. You're going to be on a lot to try and, get as many, transactions in as possible. And you've got a ticking clock. The second you hit max level, you're going to have to get all these professions up and going if you're going to try and make money, because as every day goes by, it's more and more people are going to be doing the jewel crafting and offering the gems. And it can be pretty tough, especially if it's not something you've done in prior expansions. So all in all, I think it's a pretty safe bet to go with gathering professions. If you're worried about bots, remember that later in the expansion, the bots probably are going to have a more significant effect. But especially in the early, first month, first couple weeks, especially on PvP servers, bots are going to get slaughtered. I mean, they're not going to be getting their hands on the new materials in the new zones, especially on PvP servers, because they're just going to get clobbered, right? So I think people overestimate how quickly the bots get up and going on a new expansion and how quickly they'd be able to get all the new materials. I do not think that bots are going to be a concern for early expansion gathering, but they definitely could take a hit a little bit later. The last thing I'll mention is I feel like it kind of puts you in a win-win situation if you're looking at your crafting profession, right? So let's take my example, right? Let's say that I'm going to go engineering. If I'm looking at the auction house and I see, man, engineering is so expensive, the prices are still crazy. Maybe it's been a couple weeks into TBC and things are still going nuts. It gives me the opportunity to continue farming mines and make mad bank, right? But let's say worst case scenario, the mines start really dropping off in price and start getting really cheap. It's not the end of the world, because then I can just transition to my profession that I wanted to have anyway. I made my money over to to engineering, and now I can, go on with my crafted profession. The problem being, if you didn't go with that approach and you didn't take a gathering profession, and everything is still super expensive on the auction house, you're not profiting off it, and you're just in a bad situation where you keep waiting. You wait 2 weeks, wait 3 weeks, wait 4 weeks, and engineering is still too expensive at the level. You still don't have the money for it, and yet, you're kind of just gonna have to find a new way to farm gold, right? If the prices aren't going down, you're just not gonna be in a good spot. Whereas if you're still doing the gathering up into the point where you're ready to transition to your crafting profession, you'll have your bases covered, right? For whatever happens. So again, not a super complicated thing to just do gathering professions, but the rich people with all the bank, man, they're going to be coming in, buying up the auction house, and who's going to profit from that, right? The people that are selling the crafted materials. So this is your chance to catch up. This is my plan. Instead of grinding classic gold, and I mean, unless you have a mage to boost in classic, it's pretty tough phase 6 to make much gold. Herbs are like all-time low prices. Arcane crystals are at all-time low prices. Skinning stuff on my servers are just really low too. So, classic is looking a little dire in terms of the gold farm. If you don't have a lot of the old gold farms have really fallen off, and so don't worry about doing a lot of these boring farms and spending hours and hours and hours in classic trying to prepare for TBC. Just wait till TBC comes out, roll in with your gathering professions, and make out like a bandit. But anyway, guys, let me know, what do you think? You think it's going to work out? Do you think gathering professions are going to be a good bet early on? I know that's what I'm planning to do. Double gathering on my character, my first main, my rogue, going into TBC to make some early money before I transition to other professions. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.